Welcome to the Hog of Liberty podcast. This is episode number 321 of East Central's favorite podcast. Jeremiah Morrill, joined by executive video producer, audio engineer, coach of the month, Zach Burcham, and my forever co-host, Mr. Dakota Davis. What do we have planned today?
Today's episode features the three of us, and since we didn't have an episode last week, we're going to be talking to you guys about the city elections. We're going to be recapping them, what happened. Then we're going to be talking to, or I guess, rather instead of just talking, Zach is going to be doing some heavy producing over in his chair, and we're going to be watching a couple of videos that has to deal with the National Congress. Jeremiah promises are really funny. Zach and I haven't watched them, so it's going to be a surprise for everybody.
You're going to be very proud of your government.
And then at the end, I guess, Jeremiah, there's something about the football that's interesting.
There's something about the football.
Your brain will explode, Dakota.
I've already seen this graphic, and I think we talked about it at work. It's just ridiculous. The amount of money that's going to professional sports players is insane.
Professional and collegiate. This show is about our lives in rural Indiana. We're here to push your boundaries and make you think as individuals. Sometimes we'll provoke you, other times we'll make you laugh, but hopefully you'll always learn something new. If you are a patron, what did you learn this week, Dakota?
Oh, this week we talked about a lot of things. We talked about I had a crazy work week, and then we talked about
icons.
Yeah, the icons.
The
we'll
icons, the big purple icons, and we ranked them. There was a review.
Yeah, you'll want to know what that's about. Patreon.com/Boss Hog of Liberty is where you can go to get access to that, and you can listen to it. You start out at $5 a month. It goes all the way up to $50 a month. And you get access to show notes before the show starts. It has the links to the videos that we'll be watching today, so you can watch along with us if you are a patron member. And then you also get access to a Facebook group where we live stream a bonus 20-minute episode every single week. And occasionally you get extra goodies throughout the year. So it's definitely worth it, in my opinion. And then you also...
and you get to interact with us directly.
Right.
If you're in that group, you've got full access. You can...
It literally
you can
is.
beat up on Dakota. You become Dakota's best friend.
And
by the way, like 6 years ago, this last week, you met Cade Coger for the very first time.
Oh wow!
You're shooting it in. It was he got in the Patreon group, and next thing you know, you went to his house, shot guns, and now you're best friends forever. All because he joined Patreon.
We don't promote it very often, but Patreon, it is a perk that if you are a Patreon member and you have a question during the show. Those are the only questions in the live stream that we answer.
That we really try to answer. Sometimes we might do others if we find them interesting.
Right.
But if you're a patron, you go straight to the top of the list.
Right. It is a perk. It is listed as a perk on the site. So, we see people all the time that are... It is.
Hey, Mr. Producer.
I tried.
We see people all the time that are asking questions in the chat, and then they get really frustrated when we don't answer their questions. Guess what? If you paid us, then we would ask it.
Dakota can be bought. That's what he's trying to tell you.
Yeah.
Who's paying this week?
$50 or more a month. Those are the folks that get a shout-out at the front of every episode, and those folks are Miss Christy Avery from Fort Wayne, Indiana. She's our favorite Norwex dealer. Then we have Mr. Jonathan Phillips of Newcastle City Council candidate fame. And
Andy Moore Buick GMC.
Correct. Then we also have Mr. Anthony Meyer, who is the hero that this nation deserves.
He's the meme dealer. All right. So you did mention that John Phillips became famous running for the city council. We did 6 weeks. Thank you to Slick Pickle Sanitation and Wildlands Flowers for sponsoring the candidate series. Absolutely incredible and phenomenal to have them as a part of that throughout the series. Talked to everybody from the judges' races to the clerk treasurer, all of the races for county council, and even the two folks, that Mike and Aaron, who didn't have opposition. And then the cherry on top was the mayor's race. We talked to everybody, so this audience is familiar with everybody that was on the ballot. D-Day came. November 2nd? Was it
Seventh.
Tuesday 7th? Yep,
Yeah.
November
It's
7th.
pretty late, yeah.
We had 10,782 people were eligible to vote that were registered in the city limits. 17 precincts. There were 2,729 people that decided what the future of the city is. 2,700 people. 6 weeks of podcasts. God only knows how many yard signs. Door knocking, billboards, the whole interviews. These guys did multiple public events. That turned out to be 25.31% of the population.
You know what's
rolled out.
crazy is I was talking to about this election and the voter turnout, and it was like, I bet like 2/3 of the people who voted listened to at least some of our podcast.
I'd be curious.
Oh, we had episodes in the thousands. I mean, yeah, it was a well-informed. I think
That's
this was
what
a
I'm
very
saying.
well-informed.
It's like at least
voting populace.
2/3 went into the ballot box having listened to this podcast, which is kind of crazy.
We should be able to get that as a question on the ballot.
Did you?
This should be the first question. If it
They
says
could just-
no, it
if
just
they-
bumps them out.
If they just if they say,
Are you a
would
more informed voter?
do you
thanks to
want
the
to-
Boss Hog Liberty
do you want to
podcast?
retain Boss Hog or no? And they say no, and the show is over. We got ourselves. We're out. It's done.
I'm just curious, is like because there were a lot. I mean, there were a lot of yard signs, so I want to know number of yard signs, the average number of eligible voters per house with a yard sign, and I bet somehow you'll find out that like 30% of the people with yard signs voted somehow. Like
Yeah.
they got yard signs.
yeah, there was less.
I mean, I had a guy that came in my voting spot while I was there who was a county person, so he didn't have anything to vote for, and he showed up to vote.
Mhm.
And they're like, "We're sorry, you don't have anybody to vote for."
Okay, we're burying the lead here. Dakota, what happened? For those that are outside of the Newcastle listening market, we didn't do a show last week.
Oh yeah,
They don't know who won. What happened in the election,
Well,
Dakota?
it's pretty insane because all of the incumbents got reelected. It was.
Who were running?
I was.
Every incumbent that was on the ballot got reelected,
I was expecting some upsets.
even the one that changed parties.
Right. I was expecting some upsets. And then I started looking through them, and I totally forgot about the judges race, like you're talking about. And I expected that one. I was like, oh, did Joe lose? Because most of them were 60-40 Democrat.
It was
So
pretty, yeah, the closest
close
the
to that
closest
anyway.
race was Walden and Grimm, which was 53-46.
Right.
It was a very that was damn close. 27 votes, I believe, is the margin.
But we know from the last election when working with Chris Guffey that ward is less Democrat heavy than some of the others.
It's also very small. Like as an example, there were 401 votes cast in that district, within in an opposition race where both guys were working really hard. If you go down to Ward 4, where Aaron Dickin is, no competition, nothing at all. 575 votes cast in his ward. So there's a
Right.
lot more
Yeah.
voters on the south side of town in Ward 4 than there are on that east side where Cameron Grimm's at. So yeah, John Phillips, he wound up with 42% of the vote. Jeff Hancock, 57% in his race, so they reelected him. Mike Guffey, his district, very small number of votes cast in there. Not a competitive race. He was the only one. 240 votes cast there. In the three-way city council at large, that was the one where you had to choose your candidates individually because the check mark in that Republican or Democrat wasn't going to matter. Both the incumbents went back and they won. So Rex Peckinpah had 1,700 votes. Lynn Perdue had 1,569. And then Ed Hill wound up with 1,048. So
We think about, I'm sure that you guys do the same. Even though I can't vote in these elections, every time that we do a candidate series like this, I'm still thinking, like, who would I vote for and things like that. And the city council at large race, what a difficult decision that would have been to make.
we've had
all three of those guys.
We've had some really good races, both the city and the county level, where you go, yep, any of these folks will be fine for the be fine people to represent the community, and you've got
Honestly,
some really good options.
Like, pretty much all of them. At least the only episode that I wasn't here was the mayor's race, which I've really was bummed out
You did in
about.
protest, obviously.
Yeah. And but
Psych.
they were all like,
Greg showed up. Dakota's not going to because he's been begging. Literally, I think it's in your bio. You've been trying to get Greg York to come in on the show, and then you weren't here for the interview that you've waited 7 years for.
I got him on the Christmas walk last year.
What if he doesn't run for re-election? Then you'll never have another chance. This would be it. Mark Koger carried the day. Mark had 308 votes, so 61%. To Micah Mattingly's 197, which is 39% of the vote. And then, it was 60-40. Clay Morgan, 1,079, and Greg York, 1,615. And then the clerk-treasurer race was pretty damn close. Ashley Huffman, this was the open seat. So Brenda Grider retired.
I saw her this past weekend, by the way.
And Brenda's doing a purse drive right now. I think she's still doing some more charitable work at the moment. So get in touch with her if you want to be a part of that.
I bet we'll hear a lot from Brenda.
But
years going forward.
Brenda's replacement will be Ashley, 55.7% of the vote, 1,486 to the 1,182 that Corey Wayne Button had. That's a really strong showing. I know a lot of these folks are planning on running again for other offices. Would not be surprised to see them come through here even next year as we get into the county elections. One thing that we did talk about quite a bit was straight ticket voting. And the number of straight ticket votes were surprising to me in that, first of all, the Republicans actually had an advantage inside city limits. There were more Republican straight tickets cast than there were all in.
I think Aaron Dickin posted it doubled.
Yeah, so there were 723 of the 2,700 people that voted cast straight ticket. So
Are Republicans more likely to cast a straight ticket ballot? I would be interested to see that study.
Well, we can only work with what we have today. But 723 divided by come on, Jeremiah. You had this. I actually typed this out, but I didn't get it into the show notes, and I'm doing it on the fly again. But yeah, so 26% of the people that showed up did straight ticket vote. We've done the research before, and it's been over 60%.
Yeah.
With the first year that those machines came into the county, you saw 60%, which once again goes back to the idea that Dakota had early that this was a high information election, where people knew who they were voting for. They didn't go in. They didn't just choose the party, but you had people that went in and knew the candidates they wanted to vote for, and they were willing to go down the ticket and split it and look around and choose different names.
At least I know of one house that is on a route I run frequently that has very political signs, or they fly a flag at their house that's very political, not complimentary of the current president. And
Say, let's go, Brandon.
no, it says
Is
it literally has the F word on it.
Is it an act?
Yes. Yeah. And but
Doesn't
they had Rex Peckinpah sign in their yard for this election. So like that's somebody who I'm guessing. I think that, and I'll be honest, I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful there's not any up ticket races. And I think that the municipal elections standing on their own saved us from a lot of the blanket voting that people. Because I'm
voting for Trump, and that's it.
I'm not making fun of people for something I haven't heard myself, but I've heard people walk in and be like, how do I vote for Donald Trump? And I've heard people say that. And they literally want the easiest way to get that vote done. And it's like, well, straight ticket. And I did hear, I was not warned about it, but maybe it's because they looked at me and said, this guy should know it better. He's younger enough. But I did hear one of the judges that was helping people voting say, hey, by the way, if you vote straight ticket, you need to go get this at-large city council seat because it will not vote for that. So that I did hear at least one person being warned about that. And I've heard them at times. They're not going to do it every time. But I've heard them warn people about the warning message you get when you don't vote straight ticket. It does tell you, though, this is an incomplete ballot or whatever.
Now, I do find that there was one person in the totals, 2,729 people cast votes. One person cast a blank ballot. So that may have been your Trump voter. who went in
It was mad because he wasn't on
and
the ballot.
couldn't find his boy.
Somebody cast a blank.
Showed up and cast a blank ballot.
Just showed up
Next,
up for the sticker.
Next.
I had to
next,
vote twice because
done.
my ballot got chewed up by the machine the first time.
Sounds like an irregularity to me.
It did not scan though,
So they had
made
to
sure,
reprint one.
What
'cause
is
they
this, Maricopa County?
they made sure it didn't scan. And they said nope, it didn't scan, and then they and said they're like okay, so they manually printed me out another ballot, and both of the judges had to sign it, and then I had to go vote again. So now I know I'm in like precinct 10 or something like that because I heard them repeat that to get my ballot created. But yeah, so I got to vote twice, but only one count.
Where did you choose to vote?
The art. I always go to the art center. That's always where I go, and that's actually like. But I parked somewhere so I didn't have to walk past all.
I was going to say the Arts Center seemed to be
that's
the
the
place
hot
that all
spot.
of the candidates hung out.
Yes, I parked on the other side of the building, so I didn't have to see any of them.
I mean, they're all
actually.
your friends.
I know, but
it
it's
wasn't
like-
glad-handed and slapping them on the back.
No,
and
I
hey,
did-
Zach,
I did run into
ready for your new position in the
to Aaron-
administration.
I did-
Hey,
yeah.
hey, Zach, you noticed we paved all the roads around you, right? You're
Yeah.
you're good to vote now.
Oh, well, okay. I will mention something that I know that Jeremiah has forgotten about. But Jeremiah got very fired up about. That I was a witness to. I don't know if you remember. I was at the city council meeting the night before the election,
Yeah.
and citing that they could have done this earlier, but they waited because the paper wouldn't pick it up till after the election. The city council voted to give all the city employees a $500 bonus / raise.
This was on the Monday night before
the
the election.
Monday night before the election, like less than 12 hours before the election. And I was like sitting there, like I think I sent it in the wrong chat. There are many. If you get involved with the We Are Libertarians Network, there are many, many chats. And I sent in the wrong chat, but Jeremiah was watching apparently from home and picked up on it immediately as well. But I did find it was a little bit like, part of me was amused because it's a flex to do that. I mean, like, if you can do it, I guess do it. Is it shady? Yeah. To say that you're not buying votes, saying that the paper won't pick it up, but you know that every city employee knew about that race before they
We
got
live in a world
to
of social
lunch.
media where I was sitting at home and I saw
Well,
it on my television.
It's also just the fact that it's not something that I don't think that most people, like I work in a government office, if something like a statement like that happens and it gets to one person in the building, it's one person. Everybody's going to know by lunch.
So it was the first reading. They did not
Yeah.
suspend their
No,
rules
but it
and
was-
go ahead and do it instantaneously.
No,
but
I
basically
think they couldn't because they pushed it onto the agenda that night. It was not on the original agenda for the evening. So I don't think that they could have broken the rules, or it's just they call suspend the rules, because of the fact that it was not originally on the agenda. Somebody can correct me. I could be wrong on that, but I think that
I
they
will say
were
that
unable to do that.
when it is, the voters voted the way they did, and it is what it is. But when one campaign has been talking about backroom deals and shady whatever happening, and then the day before the election you decide you're going to give the city employees a $500 raise the night before,
Yeah.
and that is not helping the case.
No.
It was
But
a
hadn't most
bit
of
of
the
an
city-
unforced error.
Hadn't most of the city employees, or at least their unions, already endorsed Greg York?
Some had. I think so.
Yeah.
There were different
But-
unions on
but-
either side.
But the
So
city
did it
council
really even
but
matter?
For the mayor's race, probably not, because there had been some tension between some of the current city employees. But for some of the city council races, maybe, and the person who introduced the idea or introduced it to the council at the time was running in an at-large seat. It was Rex Peckinpah was the one that introduced it. So some of them, you never know. Like, look, this guy voted for us. So I don't know. It might have entrenched the current administration in with the current employees. But I just recalled that, and I was like, "Oh,
I'm
Jeremiah
not-
really wanted this brought up if we had a show last week."
I'm not mad that they gave the employees a raise
Nothing
whatsoever.
about
I
it.
think that's
The
fantastic.
funniest part
The,
about it
the
was
timing of it.
the timing
is-
and the presentation of, well, we could have done this a long time ago, but we didn't want to seem like we're buying votes.
and it won't make the paper till
And
after
we won't
the
make
election.
paper after the election. The paper is irrelevant.
The
Like,
paper with
look at the election.
I don't want to make a joke
The
about the
votes-
circulation.
Yeah, the votes you're buying are not the people who get the paper. It's the people whose bosses are sitting in the chairs around the council at the time. And even if it doesn't get passed, which it couldn't get passed that night, it's there. It's
Well,
out.
and the night before the election,
night before.
who is going to vote no or say this is wrong or this is not wise to do?
I mean,
Who's gonna sit there and say no the day before the election,
in retrospect,
or have
Especially when
even have the conversation and not come off sounding like a total?
Especially when potentially 27 voters could make or break.
in
the decision.
in retrospect too, there was, and somebody, like I said, I know Mike Guffey's in the chat. He could correct me. There was a motion brought up early in the year about putting up a fee schedule essentially for EMS service. So currently, separate from the shenanigan election stuff with the non-emergent transfers, they're talking about charging people for EMS EMS calls, like when you call 911, and that got tabled and has never been brought back up. And I was like, oh, this got tabled because it's an election year and they don't want to touch it before an election. They don't want to be the ones that make EMS service cost money, even though anybody who's in 2023 understands that's eventually going to have to happen. It's like one of those weird things that, like, we're fortunate for them to have made it last as long as it did.
There are realities coming, just as we heard from the mayor on the last show, where they're probably going to have a spousal carve-out change. Things change with health insurance, right? Things
have to, like, that stuff's getting more and more expensive, and then what's they're dealing with is insurance is paying out less and less for some of this stuff, and so they're dealing with that. But that was something that was, like, negative, tabled, hasn't been heard of, and very quickly, and this popped up. And I just thought, like I said, to me, it was part of me was like, politically it doesn't look great, but at the same time, I kind of like, well, if you can do that, it's kind of hilarious on some level. It is a flex to do that and to act like you're.
So I furiously did all this math recalculating in my hand. I typed it in my calculator 2 or 3 times. I had put it in the show notes. I didn't look in the one place I should have looked to see that I had already done the work. I had already laid out the breadcrumbs. It was done.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were calculating something else. And
No.
You said, 26%. Like, yeah, it's on the show notes. If you're a Patreon member, you'd have known well before Jeremiah calculated it.
You could have known that I had already done the math 4 hours ago.
Mini split tickets.
Oh, I'm an idiot. All right, so let's look at national stuff. Do you guys know we got an election coming up? Like this, there's no break at all. They will be filing. So this is a week before Thanksgiving. The filing window opens up for running for Congress, running for State House, running for county commissioner, governor, all of this stuff. Governor people are running already. Sheriff Sproles had a video out today. Eric Doden, who's one of the 5 or 6 absolute monster GOP candidates running for the open governor seat. Our sheriff was in an attack ad today.
We want to try to get Eric on this show. Don't call him a monster.
No, there are like 5 giants of Indiana politics that want to be governor. It's that race is going to be unbelievable.
I don't know who Eric Doden is.
He's a rich guy,
Never
business
heard of him
connected.
before.
Aren't they all?
He's big money. They're on TV already. It's 50 weeks away from the election, and they are already on TV. The primary is in May.
My kids almost entirely control the television, and when they don't, I turn on something that's on a streaming service. I have never been so excited to not watch network television my entire life. I think I only saw with my eyes on TV 2 Indianapolis Mayor's ads at all. I heard a bunch of radio ads because I listened to the radio for like a stint in the morning, and yeah, I'm not looking. That's the worst part. You just get so tired of seeing the same ads over and over again. So I'm excited to not watch network television some more, so I can not see these ads.
So, national politics. By the way, Eric George Santos announced today he's not running for re-election. This news comes out. The ethics probe comes about.
That's if he's even still in Congress to run for re-election.
This dude got elected in November of last year. He took office in January. I'm watching. The news comes out today, and Sarah and I have the TV on, and she's like, God, that guy.
He's funny.
He's
hilarious.
This story's been going on since, 2020? I said, no, he just became a congressman in January.
Yeah.
He made it 10 months, and he's like had 7 news cycles.
He's going to be expelled. I mean, he stands a chance of being, I don't know, the last time a congressman was expelled.
His life since Congress has been like an Arrested Development TV episode.
He's kind of living for totally different reasons, whatever. He's living like the Trump thing, but in a compressed, like it took Trump got drug out over years and years, whatever. It's going to turn into a 10-year-old deal. Santos crammed it all in because immediately he got elected, and they picked apart his life. He had lied about his life. Apparently, he had used all kinds of stuff.
He was using campaign donations to go buy personal clothing, high-end New York City clothing.
Yeah.
He was subscribing to I don't know what style accounts on OnlyFans, but he was buying OnlyFans accounts with campaign donations. His campaign treasurer has already pled guilty to stuff. I mean, it's bad. It's bad. So he announced today that he will not be seeking re-election.
Yeah, and I've promoted Jeff Jackson's Instagram feed before. He's a congressman from North Carolina, and he does a good job of not politicizing, but just kind of laying out what was going on. Because he'd said he had voted for him to get a due process. He's like, I'm going to vote to expel him now that I know, but he's like, I'm going to give him the chance. He's like, because due process is important. And then the minute the report came out, he's like,
I'm done.
Yep, he's got his due process. I'm going to vote to expel him. But this guy. I don't know if he at any point in this guy's decision to run for Congress, how he ran for Congress, and since he got elected to Congress, if at any point he chose the correct decision in any decision he made at any point. Like, he literally was like a choose your own path, and he chose the wrong path at every single juncture.
That's why he's been so fun. That's why I'm kind of disappointed he's not seeking re-election.
The ride is over. Is over.
And because he's just like a congressman, he has no power. So he's not getting anything done.
Well, the problem
Congress
is that
is a joke.
Yeah.
So he's
the head clown.
Yeah, it's just let's might as well make it funny.
So there's a 3-vote majority for the Republicans. He beat a Democrat. It was very advantageous, and it was a miracle that he won the seat. So when he gets thrown out, they're not going to get a Republican back in.
No.
That's going to be like you lose a half of a vote when he's gone. You're going to lose a vote completely when somebody comes back through.
It might be one of those situations where we're like 75 or 80 years old, and that's when the next Republican gets elected, and they point out this is the first Republican to get elected to this seat since George Santos shamed the office in 2022, 2023.
So
yeah. Amazing.
Santos was one of the people that helped get Kevin McCarthy the speakership on 17 or 18 votes. One of the representatives who helped to throw Kevin McCarthy out was this guy named Tim Burchett, who's a Knoxville, Tennessee area congressman. Representative Burchett is pretty new to town, first termer, I believe, second term, and we have some audio because apparently in the deep in the bowels of the Capitol, Representative Burchett was walking one way down the hallway, Zach, and the former speaker that Burchett had helped to get thrown out, allegedly he punched him right in the kidneys.
So this is the audio you need right now.
This is
okay,
the
so this is clean shot to the kidneys.
Yes. Here we go.
Okay.
Hallways with Congressman Tim Burchett, who is
This is
one of the
live on
8
CNN.
Republicans who voted out Kevin McCarthy from the speakership, and apparently had a bit of a dust-up in the hallways himself with Kevin McCarthy. And I have Congressman Burchett with us here right now. So, Congressman, explain to us what happened with you and Kevin McCarthy.
Well, I was doing an interview with Claudia from NPR, a lovely lady, and she was asking me a question. And at that time, I got elbowed in the back. And it kind of caught me off guard because it was a clean shot to the kidneys, and I turned back, and there was Kevin, and I for a minute I was kind of, what the heck just happened? And then I chased after him. Of course, he's as I've stated many times, he's a bully with $17 million and a security detail. He's the type of guy that when you're a kid would throw a rock over the fence and run home and hide behind his mama's skirt. And he just, he from behind, that kind of stuff. That's not the way we handle things in East Tennessee. If we have a problem with somebody, I'm going to look them in the eye and talk to them.
Okay, so he walked down the hallway, hit you with his elbow.
Yeah, you can go on Claudia's Twitter account. It pretty much, or X account. It's very accurate.
Okay, so then just explain. So you chased him? What do you mean you chased him?
I just ran after him. I was like, what the heck? Why'd you do that? Because it was... like I said, if you've ever been hit in the kidneys, it's a little different. You don't have to hit very hard to cause a little bit of pain, a lot of pain, and so he just, of course, as he always does.
I love that he's addressing this journalist who's, I can just hear in his voice, has got the softest hands I've ever seen in my life. If you ever been hit in the kidneys.
He also, so that nobody's missing the visualization, is wearing a 4-pocket Carhartt jacket. Like, it's old, too. It's like, it's gray. It's no longer tan. Like, he's repping the, like, I'm a working class guy. He's got a suit on underneath it. But, yeah, that's hilarious. He's kind of guy that throws a rock over the fence and goes and runs home and hides behind his mom. I knew he was going to say his mom. He said his mom is skirt, and I was like, oh, that's even better.
So that this all happened the same day this week. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. This all happens. That's on the House side. On the Senate side, there's Bernie Sanders has the Labor Committee, so he's the chairman. The voices you're going to hear Bernie Sanders. He's the Labor Committee chairman. You're going to hear the fellow named Markwayne Mullen, who's he's a Gen Xer, so he's 48 years old from Oklahoma. He's a former MMA fighter who is now the senator from Oklahoma. He won a special election, and then the third person in the conversation is the guy that is in charge of the Teamsters for the U.S. Okay, so it's what is his name? I want to get the name right here. And apparently they had a little bit of a dust up previously. A couple guy named O'Brien, okay, Sean O'Brien, who's the Teamsters chief.
Man, that sounds like a Union Chief's name, doesn't it?
Yeah, so
that's a dude who rolls up with 6 of his cousins.
And what happened? So O'Brien testified back in the spring and made fun of Senator Mullen for standing on during a speech. He had a picture, and Senator Mullen apparently isn't the tallest guy in the world, so he has short man syndrome. He was standing on an apple box, essentially, which is exactly out of Veep. If you ever watched the TV show Veep on HBO, same thing happened. So he was pictured trying to be taller on an apple box. They got in a spat on Twitter, and then when he gets his chance, Senator Mullen, this is what ensues. And this is a long clip. We can stop and jump in or whatever, but I want to make sure you get the full context because this may as well be an SNL skit. Here we go.
Behavior, as everybody knows, and it's here. And the last time, him and I kind of had a back and forth. Appreciate your demeanor today. It's quite different. But after you left here, you got pretty excited about the keyboard. In fact, you tweeted at me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And let me read what the last one said. It said, greedy CEO who pretends like he's self-made. Sir, I wish you was in the truck with me when I was building my plumbing company. Myself and my wife was running the office because I sure remember working pretty hard and long hours. Pretends like he's self-made. What a clown. Fraud. Always has been, always will be. Quit the tough guy act in these Senate hearings. You know where to find me. Any place, anytime, cowboy. Sir, this is a time, this is a place. If you want to run your mouth, we can be 2 consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up.
They start
You
standing
stand
up.
your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Big
No,
guy.
no, stop it.
Is that your solution every
Hold it. No, sit down.
Why, you're a clown.
Sit down. Okay. You know, you're a United States Senator. Sit down.
Active.
Oh, okay.
Sit down, please.
All right.
Can I respond, Mr.
Hold
Chairman?
it. Hold it. If
Hold
we
on.
can,
This
no,
is
I have
what
the
he
mic.
said.
I'm sorry.
This is
Hold
what
it.
he said.
You'll have your time.
Okay.
Can I respond?
Oh, no, you can't. This is a hearing. And God knows the American people have enough contempt for Congress. Let's not
I don't
make
like
it worse.
thugs and
You-
bullies.
You have
And
you
that's-
have-
I don't like it.
First of all, poor Bernie. You know that moments after this is over, he's like, I'm too old for this crap.
This is going to go everywhere. My day is ruined. Nobody's going to pay a damn bit of attention. And Dakota can't see the video. I think Zach has it. If you watch the guys behind him in the video, they've got all of these labor guys. There's a UPS fellow and a couple other guys. As this back and forth is happening, they are losing their shit they know they're on camera, but they cannot contain the laughter. So as you
And I know you can't generally judge a book by its cover, and this guy might be shorter. The senator, his shirt looks like he's about to blow the buttons out with his neck and his chest. You can tell this dude spends a significant amount of time.
he's an literally an
Yeah.
MMA fighter.
Yeah, the Teamsters president does not look like he.
No, he just looks like a bulldog.
He looks like he's got he's got security that he hires to run
Looks
around.
like
with
he's
him.
the Teamsters president. For
Yeah,
a living.
he doesn't have to worry about. He doesn't get his hands dirty. Like, and these. Oh man, it'd be fun to see him fight. But
All right.
like, yeah, but poor Bernie though, and you just hear him come in, and he's just like, wait.
All right, push play.
I love it. Can I speak? No, you cannot.
You, because you
Hold
just
it.
described yourself.
Yeah, hold it. You have the mic.
Yeah.
You have time.
All right.
Make your statement.
Then let's do this, because I did challenge you, and I accepted your challenge, and you went quiet.
No, I didn't go quiet.
Hold on.
You challenged me to a cage match,
No,
acting
no.
like a 12-year-old schoolyard
Hold it.
bully.
Excuse me.
Hold on.
Hold it. No, excuse me. I have the
I
mic.
will say exactly.
Senator
what you
Mullen,
said.
I have the mic. You have questions on any economic issues, anything that said, go for it. We're not here to talk about physical abuse.
You brought.
We're not talking about, of course I
And
can.
let me show you his hearing, because I want to expose this thug to who he is. In
If you're not pointing at me,
2013
that's disrespectful.
I don't
I
care
get a
about
real
respecting
Jim
you at
Lucas
all.
vibe.
I don't respect you at all.
So
All right, hold it.
let me.
Looks pretty
Hold it.
similar too.
No.
Actually.
You're one of
Yeah,
a
hold
hundred
it.
of the most
Hold
elite
it,
people.
please.
Act it.
Please. All right? This is excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
This is a hearing to discuss economic issues. All right? If you have questions
It's like a kindergarten
with
teacher.
Mr. O'Brien or anybody else on what he has said, go for it.
I mean-
But we're not here to talk about
I'm pretty sure O'Brien
fights
was the name of
or
the guy
anything else.
I'm quoting exactly what
that
he
George
said.
can say what
pretended
you
to be in
want.
the limo with
This is
Seinfeld when
this
he
is
nearly got
your
himself
witness
killed.
you brought,
This is
and
my
let me. I'm exposing him
You can
as a
talk
person
anything
who
you want.
he is. So
but
in
no fight-
2013,
Nope.
in 2013,
No
O'Brien
fighting.
was suspended by the Teamsters for intimidating your own members. In 2014, you were part of, what would you say, organizing the harassment and intimidation of the Top Shelf crew.
Chef, not chef.
Top Chef.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
it was
And
a TV show,
and
Top
I
Shelf.
think in the
Top Shelf
reports they
food
said
with Top
sexual,
Chefs.
Racist and homophobic slurs and death threats. 14 tires were sliced.
That's just
And
business
5
for a union
Teamsters
there.
were arrested, and you said, well, I had nothing to do with it. But however, in that same statement, you said, but if I get called to testify, I'll plead the fifth. This is the witness you brought in here. In 2017, you were removed as lead negotiator by then President Hoffa for UPS for your actions. And then in 22, when this guy was elected, what he said after he got elected was he wanted to bring the mob mentality back to the Teamsters. This is your guy.
And you're
He
obviously
can-
going to give him a
he-
chance to
he
respond
can-
to your
oh,
questions.
Absolutely, because this is my question. Because you called me out. I didn't call you out.
Yeah, you did.
You said anytime, any place.
That's
what you said.
let's get the record
Okay.
straight.
Miss Hold it, no.
Hold on.
Senator Mullen, you
is
have a
still
question to
just-
the witness.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear it.
So, anytime, any place.
No, that's not,
April is a charity event.
no,
or-
that's not, no.
it's a,
No.
Bernie is
Sir,
sounding
he
like
said
Larry
it.
David
Listen,
right
He is here to
you
tell,
didn't set
no.
parameters on what the questions
He
can or
will
cannot
not
be
do
asked.
your
Now,
wrestling
No,
ask
you're
me
not
a
going to,
question.
we're not going to be talking about
yes, we
physical
can.
confrontation.
Oh, this is about charity, for a union charity, because this
This
is for
is,
firefighters. and
you have a
policemen.
question on his
April,
testimony.
April.
Grow up,
April
will you
next
please?
You
year.
have
grow
a
up. You're an
question
embarrassment.
on his, let's not
You
be.
said it.
You're an
You
embarrassment.
said
You're
it,
an
and I'm just
embarrassment.
simply answering it.
You
Senator
reached
Mullen,
out
go
to
hold
your
it,
buddies.
hold it.
I-
Senator Mullen, you made some charges.
Charges.
Mr. O'Brien, do you want to respond to
Yeah,
the
go ahead,
question?
please.
Yeah, I mean, look, the reality of it is, you
Accept
know,
my challenge,
Mr.
tough guy.
Mullen, tough guy.
Answer, hold it. Answer the questions.
All right, y'all won. He
Please.
made a lot of statements, right? And his statements are fiction at best.
Fiction, I read them.
Can you
What?
answer the question?
Children.
I can't
Mocking
understand
him.
They're
him, to be
children.
honest with you. He rambles so much. What was your question, actually?
Well, you said I made a lot of statements.
No, but what's your question? I don't understand your question. Could you repeat it?
You said
It doesn't get much
anytime,
better
any
from here.
place.
It's just.
Accept
I
the
think there may
challenge.
be another minute or so left, but now it's just a little bit more bickering from there. We can cut it.
Somebody's gonna end up buried underneath the football field.
Hoffa's name came up.
I know there's a I heard of it.
He said he wanted to bring the mob mentality back to the Teamsters. It's crazy.
So, Senator Mark Wayne Mullen did not back off after the fact either. He basically was like, "Yeah, that's how we do it in Oklahoma." You don't. He was playing. We've gotten beyond trying to actually legislate with any of this stuff. Now it's just who can raise money off this, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it's going to be. Is I'm a fighter. I'm
No,
fighting for
you know
I'm
what?
fighting for Oklahoma.
I am on Senator Mullen's side.
Of course you
Because you know what? people run their mouths so much on social media.
He's calling
You're
a keyboard cowboy out.
You're going to keep on talking shit on social media constantly because you're behind a keyboard. And now guess what? You get to sit here and listen to me talk. We are face to face.
You're a United States Senator, Dakota Davis. We don't do that.
Senator Mullen is a former MMA fighter. He's used to battering people's faces. And he said, "You want to talk? Let's talk, buddy."
Yeah.
The guy tweeted at him and said, "Any place, any time."
Yeah,
and he's like,
you know what?
Look,
so after the
"We're
fact,
both here now, buddy."
O'Brien said, "I meant for a cup of coffee. I just want to sit down and talk." That was what he said at the end.
Yeah,
I just want a cup of coffee. I don't know what the hell your problem is.
There needs to be more of that in today's society, not less.
More
of it.
physical violence.
No, there needs to be more of
Calling people out for what they say on social
Yeah.
media. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to act like a jackass? Well, guess what? You're going to get beat like one.
I'm guessing though that the Teamsters president wouldn't go into any fight alone.
I'm going to say the Teamsters president's going to get a bonus.
He didn't. He didn't look.
I'm
He didn't
sure.
look intimidated or anything.
Is this the guy that was wearing the "Eat the Rich" shirt on Twitter?
I don't know about that. I don't know. That's
Because there was someone during the negotiations with UPS when all of that was going down. He made a video explaining some stuff, and he had an "Eat the Rich" T-shirt on.
I can't confirm or deny that side. I don't know that answer, but I will let you get back and research it.
Just Google O'Brien "Eat the Rich."
The last item, the last segment that I wanted us to get into today. Did you guys get up early Sunday morning to watch some football? To watch some Indianapolis Colts in Germany?
Nope.
So they were on the national TV. The Colts were the second of the German games, Frankfurt, Germany. They played the Patriots, and
Is this him?
yes, that is the guy. That is the guy. So he was wearing the "Eat the Rich" T-shirt.
I'm going to send this to you, Zach, so you can post it in the comments. Sorry, go ahead with the Colts in Germany.
So the Colts went to Germany, and the first game that the NFL played in Germany was last year, and the local reports said that it was a $77 million impact in Germany for the local economy by coming over there. And Inga Neal, who's a good friend of the program, runs Temptations, great local restaurant here, said, "Hey, we're wasting." I think that is a different guy, Dakota. You're right. They look very similar, but it's not the same fellow.
Yeah, it says UAW in the background.
Yeah, it would be Teamsters. Inga said, "Hey, we need to stop going overseas with football. Nobody asked for this. We should just donate this money to charity." And I was like, it makes sense because they're going over there. They're growing the pool, right? The thought is that this makes economic sense. There's all these people that are buying tickets, and they're trying to create a new market for the NFL to go to Europe. So they've been going to.
Were they playing a German team?
No, they played the New England Patriots.
Yeah, they play him in a German stadium.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, they started doing the London game.
It's an international series.
What I would equate this to is back in the day, IndyCar
It's
would
the
go to
National
like
Football League.
yeah, but there it's a global thing. It's
not the
money. It's
IFL.
100%
Eventually, they're going to try to locate a team in Europe.
Yeah, probably in London or something to start out. They're getting paid, so like it's not the money won't go to charity because the money won't exist. Like back in the day, IndyCar would go to Australia for a race.
The Gold Coast.
The Gold Coast. The promoter in Australia wrote a big fat check.
$30 million bucks
They
to
would
fly all
cover
the
the
equipment,
entire
everybody down
cost
there.
of loading an entire series up into back in the day, back when I remember as a kid, it was FedEx planes because it was the FedEx Champ car or whatever. Load them all up. FedEx could make a big deal out of, look at how cool this is. We pack all these cars up. But the money existed because they went there. If they don't go there, then the money doesn't exist. So there's no money to donate. And the NFL is making, like they're getting paid for the TV rights. They're probably getting a chunk of the ticket revenue for that.
What they did is they carved out by doing an NFL game in Europe, you created an extra TV window because
Yeah, 'cause it was
normally
a morning
they
room.
they come on at 9:30 in the morning. We got the Craig DaCosta experience, the Hawaii wake up in Hawaii and watch a football game at 9 a.m. Because the Colts were on at 9 and we were done by 12 o'clock. 12:30 it was over, and you had your entire Sunday afternoon to go watch more football or go do whatever you wanted to do.
It was done before the 1 o'clock games came on.
Exactly. So what they did, by going further east, they now have a 4-game window. So they can do that 7 or 8 times a year for this Europe series. It creates an additional national TV game, and what it does is it also gets the fans over there to start picking teams. London has kind of become the pseudo home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. They've played a game or two a year there for I think the last 5 or 6 years. So Jacksonville goes over constantly. But
what do they call football over there?
it's the NFL. It's football. They just call it football. It's American football is what they call it. So watching the broadcast, there were 2 things that happened. They love the American music, so they were playing
There's some weird song
Country
they play.
Roads by John Denver,
Yes.
and the entire crowd is singing along. Like they all know the song. And then they did it's very big in Boston, right? But Sweet Caroline, they were doing Sweet Caroline, and then the music stopped, and the Colts were on offense. They came out of a TV break. You get this the whole crowd singing it. The crowd didn't stop when the music stopped. So the Colts were on offense, and the entire crowd is doing the bum, 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 the whole thing as Gardner Minshew is running for his life, trying to escape. The crowd was completely into the atmosphere of it, not really caring that much about some of the stuff that was on the field.
So I did the quick math. I looked it up, and you're talking about the extra TV window. The NFL makes $7.3 billion per year on TV money. That's how much they get
Still?
paid. Yes.
They
are the undisputed kings of television.
Yeah,
Because
they
they got 2 things going for them. 1, everybody watches, and 2, everybody watches live. Nobody watches on delay, so the commercial value is tremendous. See, but they make $7.3 billion per year off television deals.
And they have their own network. So that game was on the NFL network. So they own the network. They get paid by the cable companies to carry it,
Carry
right?
the network.
And they get to sell the ads to do it. So they're giving nothing up whatsoever. And it's home produced.
I guarantee you they're getting they're getting part of the ticket revenue, and they're getting
the merch.
all the money off the TV shop, NFL shop for selling jerseys and all that stuff to all those people at a premium, probably over what it costs the United States, because they're not covering shipping on that.
Yeah. I think one of the reasons the Colts went over was that Bernard Ryman, he was an offensive lineman for the Colts. He's from Austria, right next door. So he had like 18 family members who went there, so they could market the hell out of Bernard. The Colts have another German player who was unfortunately injured, but they found teams that market well over there. And then you also had people that traveled over. I know there were some people from Indianapolis, a lot of folks from Indianapolis that hopped on planes and said, "Hey, let's do a week in Europe and wrap it up with the Colts."
Do they have smaller teams? So we have the Indy Fuel, right, for soccer. Do they have anything like that over there?
There once was an NFL Europe, and actually the commissioner was Andrew Luck's father of NFL Europe. But that project was abandoned because people don't want to go over and watch a feeder series. They want to have the top end deal. So instead of having a bunch of local teams, because instead of having a team in Barcelona and a team in Munich or whatever, they say, "Hey, no, we'll just bring over our top teams, and you can go." You can get on a train and go between Frankfurt or London or wherever, and you could go to 7 or 8 NFL home games. That's as many as you'd have in Indianapolis, right? You have 7 or 8 home games a year, maybe 9, in an NFL city. Basically, that's what London has now, and it's like an all-star cast of people rolling through.
What was the game like? Did the players seem like they were in regular shape?
Yeah. So 2 weeks ago, the week before the first Germany game, they had an absolute barn burner. I think it was the Dolphins and the Chiefs, and it was a great touchdowns back and forth. The Colts and the Patriots are not exactly the top shelf product of the NFL. So it was great watching Bill Belichick lose on national TV. But it was fine. Yeah, the Colts won the game. Yeah, first time they've only beaten the Patriots I think twice since like 2009. It's been a long time.
The Patriots are awful, and they said that might be the beginning.
The Patriots benched their starting quarterback with 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, they said it might be the
What?
beginning of the end for Bill
Wow.
Belichick. Like he, at minimum, might lose his GM status with the team, and they probably will agree to part ways at the end of the year. They're like 2-7 or something. They're terrible.
Yeah, they are the second worst team in the NFL right now. All right, Dakota, we've been talking about
Behind the
how
Detroit Lions?
no, the Detroit Lions are great. They're first place.
That was just for
Christy Avery's or Christie's Lions are like favored to win on Thanksgiving Day for the first time in forever. We've been talking about where they're making a little bit of money in football. You want to talk about where they waste some money in football? Does the name Jimbo Fisher sound familiar to you, D Squared?
No.
So Jimbo Fisher was the head coach of Texas A&M from 2018 to 2023. He just got fired in season. He was the Florida State head coach. He's got a great record coming into it, but it didn't work out as well as they would have hoped there at Texas A&M, which is not exactly the world's greatest school. They are like they are. I think they've had one. Let's see here. He got to coach 2018 through 2023. His best season at Texas A&M, they went 9-1. All right, but they're not like a perennials. They're not Georgia. They're not Alabama. They're not one of the greatest teams in football. He is getting paid to not do his job an incredible number.
Yeah, you've got it on the thing here.
I've got the breakdown of how it actually works out.
So previously, the largest buyout, right? You've got a contract and it's guaranteed money. The largest buyout previously in college football head coaching history was Gus Malzahn from Auburn, $21 million. And then like 12 years ago, Charlie Weiss was the head coach of Notre Dame, and he got paid $18 million not to coach anymore. Jimbo Fisher, Zach, what do you got?
He is going to get paid a total of $76 million to not coach. He gets $19.25 million due within 60 days of them firing him. They owe him another $7 million within 120 days of his firing. So they owe him. They're going to owe him $26 million between now and like March.
This is a public school, a public university.
His assistant coaches are getting a combined $8 million buyout, but then he's going to get another $7 million every year through 2031. Like, this makes the Bobby Bonilla deal look like nothing.
This is
What
the
I don't
greatest
understand
unemployment
is
ever.
why fire him? Why not just make him do something?
Because you just want to listen, man. You're going to teach
it's
shop
because it's all
teach
the
shop.
it's all the same to them. They're going to pay him whether or not, so they might as well. And there is no
You're going to be our new water boy, Jim.
there is no like contingency. Like, he gets another job. That does not offset. So sometimes they'll put in the contract.
the NFL, if you go get another job, then the
they
team
not-
doesn't have to pay you
Yeah,
anymore.
they can stop paying you. There's no so he can go get another job.
He could go
and still,
coach
they still owe him
Auburn and make $7 million a year there.
He could, in theory, go. He should go get a job for a team that plays them, and he could go. He could be paid by their team to coach against them in a game. That would be like the ultimate win.
Yeah, that would be
but
good.
76. And then I saw an article that the Power Five. There's in the last. It's more than so. So between his contract is almost half of this, but between him and the coach from Auburn, Nebraska, Georgia Tech, Wisconsin, wherever, since 2022, these teams owe coaches $146 million for buyouts.
There's
Here's
been a
thing.
lot of talk about IU needing to make a change. Tom Allen, who's from Newcastle,
He has a huge buyout. Yeah.
If IU makes a change, they would be second on that list.
And I don't understand. So in theory,
So the guy's from Newcastle
yeah,
The guy that's the IU head coach is
yeah, current
for football.
Jimbo Fisher's from West Virginia, but yeah, Tom Allen, the IU head coach, is a Newcastle graduate.
What I don't understand about the Jimbo Fisher situation too is you told us that he had a storied past of he was coaching at different places.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he wasn't having great luck.
I mean, this is his
Otherwise, they
second head
would've-
coaching job. I'm pretty sure that Texas A&M lured him away. He had one down season at Florida State. He was 10-3, and then they won the Orange Bowl. The next year, he went 5-6 and said, "Never mind," and Texas A&M hired him. First 3 years, he won the Gator Bowl, he won the Texas Bowl, he won the Orange Bowl. They then made the Gator Bowl the next year, and he hasn't had a bowl berth since. Head coaching record is 128-48 overall.
So
45-25 at Texas
the
A&M.
thing that I don't understand is, so is his contract through 2031?
Yeah.
See, who hires, like, how many
That's an
coaches
insane
in
amount
how
of
many
time.
coaches in any sport have in the current era have more than 5 years at it? I mean, like the Mike Krzyzewskis of the world aren't around that much anymore. So to sign any coach for a nearly 15-year contract is absolutely insane.
Well, what these guys do, these schools, say some of these schools have that short man complex as well, short man syndrome, where you know you're not Texas. So you have to overpay, you have to overcommit to bring in what you perceive to be top-end talent. It's like in racing to say, hey, we're
the same school that brought in Bob Knight.
Texas Tech. That was Texas Tech.
Oh, Texas Tech. Okay, same. They're not the Longhorns.
But we could say, they're not. Yeah, they're not.
Big school.
I'm trying to think of the racing analogy. It would be like somebody like Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan Racing, somebody that's good but not championship caliber, and saying, "Look, Scott Dixon, I know we need you. We will pay you guaranteed money for the next 6 years to drive our car. We're going to give you $10 million a year for the next 6 years to drive our car, period, no matter what." And then if he sucks and you just cannot, it is non-functional and he's not getting anything done, at 2 years in, you've got to pay him the last $50 million of his deal, no matter what. That's what basically what they've done, is that you're trying to bring in somebody that is maybe a level or two above you. You're outperforming what your status is. And then you get to the back end, you get to where it didn't work out, and now you're hosed. Completely hosed.
It kind of bothers me. I can't understand. It's so much money.
Now, here's the other thing that happens, is that it's really not the university that's paying the money.
Boosters pay it.
So at IU, it is, if you go look at Indiana University now, it's the Simon family's involved. I believe that there's a car dealer involved as well. I think both Purdue and IU have significant car dealerships involved in as a booster. So you've got some people that have local deep pockets that you usually end up paying for some of these coaches. It still runs through the university, and if you look at the highest paid person on the on the public records for the state of Indiana, it's probably a basketball or football coach.
It's usually a basketball coach. Yeah, that's a fun map to look up. It's like who's the highest paid public employee in every state, and then like in the Midwest, it's usually the basketball coach, and then when you go to the SEC states down in the Southeast,
the football
it's
coaches.
the football coaches. In Texas, it's the football coach, and so you can kind of look at which college sport's the most popular, because that coach will be the highest paid public employee in the state.
It's insane.
There's like 2 states where it's like a doctor or something, like somebody who you'd actually think to be making all the money.
$77 million impact to play an NFL game in Europe. $77 million is what it takes for Jimbo Fisher to go away. The numbers are perfect. It took one NFL game to pay for Jimbo Fisher. The most expensive thing in the history of the world, boop, done. The NFL covers it in 3 hours.
Good for him. I mean, just like he got them to sign that.
Yeah, right.
There's no
what's
shame,
insane.
Zach. You don't feel
offered him that.
disappointed when you get fired and bye.
No.
And he probably bought a house 6 years ago and it doubled in value too.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm going to move to the mountains.
Which is it's insane.
His $2 million house is worth $6 million.
Just how fickle some like college programs are about with their coaches. Like they just immediately turn on them, and there's so few that actually manage to stay. Like Nick Saban's probably worth every penny that Alabama pays him, because they have been in the top 5 perennially the entire time I've been aware. I mean, I bet they've had a down year here or there, but it's like, how up and down the sports are, and yet you offer a guy a 14-year contract that 5 years in you're done with them, and now you owe him $76 million. Somebody pointed out that one of the reasons he's as popular as he was there is because, and he never even played for him, is that Jameis Winston is like a friend of the program and spends a lot of time there. But they pointed out that Jimbo Fisher's buyout is more than Jameis has made his entire career so far. He's making more money not coaching than an NFL player.
Jameis Winston, noted for stealing when he was in college playing for Jimbo. He was arrested for stealing crab legs out of a grocery store. Crab legs. If you want some random information,
like little
Dakota.
He did something. He got in trouble for like the dumbest little like stuff that was just like, why would you get in trouble for that? Because I think there was something about
Just having fun, man.
Well, he was pre-name and likeness, and now they he could have afforded those crab legs. He'd have rolled up in his Rolls Royce probably.
One of the weirdest stories in college football over the last decade is the case of former Florida State quarterback shoplifting crab legs. Tim Tebow's Heisman rap video was harmless and awkward, but this takes the cake in as far as bizarre moments go. Winston, just months after winning the Heisman Trophy, was given a citation for stealing $32 worth of crab legs from a Tallahassee.
Isn't it like 2 crab legs?
From a Tallahassee Publix, April 29th, 2014.
He was just trying to celebrate.
After winning the Heisman Trophy, he was given a citation for stealing $32 worth of crab legs and crawfish from the Publix.
And crawfish. I love that it's crawfish.
And crawfish. And they pressed charges.
Yeah.
In the story we got here says, weird year bingo cards. Nobody on the face of the earth in 2014 had Heisman-winning quarterback steals crustaceans from Publix.
That was the year I graduated high school.
Oh my gosh! I've known he stole the crab legs, but I didn't know. There's video here, Dakota. We'll drop the YouTube video in the chat for people too. But yeah, here's video of Jameis.
It's in his slides.
Jameis in 2014, walking. It's just going to be him walking in and grabbing the damn crab legs.
He also had a complaint against him in July 2013 for stealing soda from a Burger King.
He's klepto. He's a little bit of a klepto.
They didn't order any food. They just saw him using ketchup cups and taking soda. He got in just trouble. I remember for just like dumb stuff, and then there's like some vulgar comments thing. I forgot about that quote. Yeah, I knew there's something happened in a food court situation, and yeah, look that up. That was preemptively like comment that.
Jameis has been successful in the NFL, though. He's been a starting quarterback for a long time, so he's passed the crab legs. Now Jimbo can buy him all the crab legs he wants. They can buy a crabbing boat together. They can they can have a fleet of crab boats in the Chesapeake Bay. They could
$76 million to.
All right.
Buzz off.
Final thoughts, Zach Burcham. This is F1 Vegas weekend. I know you've got to be excited. I thought it was during Thanksgiving weekend. I didn't realize it was the weekend before until this week.
It sounds like they're pulling it together. It sounds like it'll be visually spectacular. I'm having fun listening to them. They came to the realization last week that, in fact, Las Vegas in November is not hot. And so this race starts at 11:30 local. So it's like starts like 1 o'clock, 1:30 here, Central Indiana time. And they said that luckily it warmed up a little bit there, but there's a chance that it could have been like in the 30s, and like the tire manufacturers or Pirelli's really having to crank to make sure the tire will work. And
they have tire warmers. I don't know why they're concerned about it.
No, their concern is on track because the straightaways are crazy long.
Yeah,
and they said that one of them is that.
When has an F1 race in America ever had tire problems?
They said I was there.
Aren't the tires getting hot?
They warm up when they're turning.
Yeah, so when they're running in a straight line, they're going to cool off.
And apparently the straightaway is incredibly long, and that they probably they will be at rev limiter, like they will probably be at max like terminal velocity, probably like in the 210 to 214 range.
So they're running this race at what time of the day?
11:30 at night.
Vegas time. So it's like 1:30 in the morning in
our time,
in Indiana.
Like 6 a.m. European time. And it'll probably be like in the low 50s, and the cars are just not designed for that. visually it'll probably be pretty impressive, and it sounds. But
Why
like,
are they doing it so late?
But I
TV
think
window.
TV window, and I think that they thought that they wanted the Vegas lights, they wanted that whole spectacle, and I think that they thought, oh, Vegas hot desert. Hot.
We can shove this into November, no problem.
Yeah, I'll shove it into November, and we need to make a night race because it's Las Vegas. It's hot. Well, like not like they don't realize deserts cool very quickly. You'd think they race in a bunch of countries with problematic humanitarian issues that are in the desert. You think they'd catch up on that, but
They're real good. They're real good at desert
but
racing.
like I was listening to a podcast today about a guy who's getting an opportunity to drive that track in a promotional vehicle, like a Jaguar, or an Aston Martin, and he did a sim run to get used to the track, and in the sim run, an SUV was hitting like 174 miles an hour on the straightaway, and so these tires are going to get real cool because they're having air run over them at 200 miles an hour. That's 50 degrees, and then they have a 50 mile an hour turn at the end, and he's like, it'll be still be interesting to see.
Well, I'm going to say Max Verstappen still wins.
Yeah, we'll see. They thought either Max or Lando Norris, because Lando's been very good at some of the like night races.
Maybe they can have
Stuff
themselves
like
a gigantic crash to start.
that.
the
Otherwise,
race.
enjoy all the holidays are here. So to take away, well, I guess this has been a not very evergreen kind of episode. Christmas tree lighting is tomorrow night for Newcastle, and the Christmas parade hosted by the Knights of Pythias is on Saturday at 4:00. So enjoy all of that.
Did you take your Halloween stuff down yet?
My Halloween stuff came down when the camper got packed up because my Halloween stuff, I still have pumpkins out, but they are not carved, but they are festive still because Thanksgiving has not come yet. But our Halloween stuff travels with the camper. We put nothing out of the house because
You're just a traveling Halloween road
we
show.
spent the entire weekend, entire month of October traveling. So with the camper every weekend. So.
Must be nice. Dakota, I was with Zach almost the entire time. Dakota, final thoughts.
It's my anniversary this weekend. Got married in 2017, 6 years ago this weekend. Jeremiah.
Check the podcast. Audio's there.
Yep.
We my Facebook memories have been your bachelor party because it was
yeah.
just before. Had a lot of bachelor party memories with old cousin Rick and Dakota
Yep.
down in
Good
Nashville
times.
for the first one.
Good times.
So you haven't been to Hawaii in 6 years.
Nope. Haven't been.
It's burnt since then.
Yeah. The same place we were at. The beach we were at. Burned up. Crazy. But it's supposed to be a happy time, Jer. Thanks for that. No, I don't have anything. I'm good.
Well, happy anniversary.
Thanks.
You guys are selling cups. You got some youth selling activities. Does Jackson sell? Does
Oh, yeah.
Jackson have a fundraiser?
Yeah, Jackson's got a fundraiser going. I guess at the preschool that he's at Tri, they're trying to get their own playground equipment so they don't have to try to squeeze in recess time when the other elementary students, the actual elementary students, are outside. So that would be great. I think Audrey's got it linked up on her Facebook profile. They're selling like pumpkin rolls and stuff. I'm getting a carrot cake roll. I can tell you that. And then they're doing danishes, like different types of cheese danishes. So
I think we just bought something very similar from the Aaron Dickin household, but I will check the administration at home, and I'm sure we'll participate.
they have a garlic herb cheese Danish that I've been thinking probably I might need to.
Dakota's
to
going to
order.
win one of each. It's going to be a very expensive fundraiser for him. We talked about Mark Brim in his new job. Got the official word today. I've been texting Mark. He is on the website. If you go to dakotanewsnow.com, Mark Brim is listed. He is a multimedia journalist. Boss Hog alum Mark Brim has now made the big time. He is the official morning news reporter over on the ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox affiliate there in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. If you read his bio, he has an unhealthy obsession with 1973 to 1987 Chevrolet pickups and watching reruns of the Rockford Files. All correct. He has a very, very recent photograph. I don't know where he found a suit, but he has a very recent photograph there. I'm disappointed that he didn't have his Kicks 96 Puka Shell photo submitted. I asked him if they would adjust it, and he says he didn't even think of it.
Dakota News Now. He needs to send me like a T-shirt or something.
You need to go all in. Yeah, Dakota.
yeah, look at that.
Dakota
That's
News
perfect.
Now.
That's awesome.
He's the guy. I've been searching the website trying to find my first Mark Brim replay, and I've not found it yet. But he's going to be a star. South Dakota doesn't know yet just what they've got on their hands, but it's going to be good.
Jim.
Or it's going to be over in 3 days. I don't know, but I think he's going to be a big star. With that, we say thank you all so very much. Thursday is Thanksgiving, but we're going to do